Good evening, everyone. Can y'all hear me? Let's try this again. Good evening. Can y'all hear me? All right. I'm going to apologize for my voice right off the bat. I'm feeling fine. My voice has left me the last couple of days, but I'm going to try and get through this. Vice President Clem is going to take over when my voice completely quits. I now call this regular meeting of the Goose Creek CISD Board of Trustees meeting to order. The time is now 6:04 p.m. Mrs. Guy, was this meeting properly posted?
Yes, it was.
And do we have a quorum?
We do.
Thank you very much. Ms. Garcia, do we have anyone signed up for citizens participation? Oh, I'm sorry, let's back up. Ooh. I'll now turn it over to Dr. Price for opening exercises.
Good evening, board members. Good evening, President Capizzi, Superintendent O'Brien. Tonight, we will open our board meeting with a prayer led by board member Mr. Richard Clem, and then that will be followed by our U.S. Pledge and Texas Pledge, Olivia Alvarado and Sadai Izaguri.
Everybody, please bow your head with me. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time we have together tonight. Thank you for everyone in the room, especially these students. We ask that you lead, guide, and direct this board as we make very, very important decisions that will affect the impact of future of our district tonight. Also ask that you give everyone here safe travel as they go home tonight. And it's in Jesus' name we pray all of this. Amen.
Amen.
That scared me.
Olivia? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. And at this time, if I may, do we have any veterans in the room? Would you please stand? On the eve before Veterans Day, we would like to say thank you for your service. Now, Baytown Junior Band is going to play a song dedicated to you all, titled Legacy of Heroes. Excellent job.
That was
Parents.
That was awesome. Very awesome.
Parents of any of these students, would you please stand and be recognized? Again, veterans, you are our heroes, and thank you for your service.
Good job, Baytown Junior High. Go Goslings, that's right. Beat them Gators. Get them. I'm a Gosling. I'm a Gosling all day.
That concludes opening exercises. Thank you, Dr. Price, for leading that. Now we'll move on to citizens' participation. Ms. Garcia has advised we have 3 speakers signed up to speak. Mr. Clem, would you read the prompt, please?
Citizen participation is the time that the board will hear public concerns or public comments from those who have properly signed up to address the board. At regular board meetings, the board shall permit public comment regardless of whether the topic is an item on the agenda posted with notice of meeting. At all other board meetings, public comment shall be limited to open session items on the agenda. Each speaker is reminded that he or she is limited in his or her presentation to a maximum of 3 minutes, which can further be limited or reduced by the presiding officer, and that he or she should respect confidentiality concerns and refrain from attacking the personal character of any individual student, staff member, or board member in addressing concerns or comments. Pursuant to state law and board policy BE legal, the board cannot consider or take action on concerns at this meeting unless they pertain to an item on the posted agenda for this meeting. Any deliberation or decision on an item that is not posted for consideration at this meeting shall be limited to a proposal to place the subject on the agenda of a future meeting. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Clem. So I will call the 3 people up to speak. You'll have 3 minutes. Mrs. Guy will keep time. When you are down to 1 minute, Ms. Guy will alert you by saying 1 minute remaining. Your time will begin when you start speaking into the microphone. First speaker is Mr. Jeff Minson. Please introduce yourself and state the topic you're speaking on. The floor is yours, sir.
My name is Jeff Minson, and I'm speaking about chaplains in the Goose Creek Consolidated School District. Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. O'Brien, tonight I would like to propose that the Goose Creek Consolidated School District consider again the state-authorized position of chaplains, as many families, students, and employees are facing difficult, complex, and often unexpected crisis in their lives. In January of 2024, we passed a resolution to fund a chaplain. In a recent family visit to Abilene, Texas, I had the opportunity to meet with Dr. J. Miller, minister at the Mosaic Baptist Church and lead chaplain for the Wiley School District. He willingly shared his experience as a school chaplain over the past 2 years and highlighted some learnings that I would like to share with you. 1, starting up the chaplain program takes time and is rooted in trust. For the year, the primary focus was on the teachers and the administrations, which was a surprise for me. But he said there's often a gap of understanding between those on the front line in the classroom and the administration. Listening with compassion and without judgment was the key skill. He related how there had been an unexpected accident with a bus driver backing over another bus driver, killing him. As Dr. Miller met with the superintendent was humbly asking what could be done for those impacted. The response was simple to the superintendent: "How are you doing?" As trust increased, lesson 2, employee recognitions decreased. The chaplains can be the sounding board for frustrations and anxieties. Now, lesson 3, chaplains can often work with students on issues that counselors cannot. 4, Open and honest communication with all parties on how to continually improve the work of the chaplains is critical for its success. When asked if the program is working in Wiley, the superintendent was very supportive of it. However, Dr. Millis asked that we not only take his word, but to call Wiley District and talk with the superintendent. He is also willing to help us set up our program. Thank you in conclusion for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Minson. Our second speaker is Joel Kuntz. Your time will begin. Please introduce yourself and the topic you're speaking on.
Joel Coons, and speaking on item 11 on the agenda. Good evening, board members and Dr. O'Brien. I stand here today to strongly discourage you from placing this piece of property up for sale. Before the school year began, I drove by Highlands Elementary only to discover a new fence being constructed through the middle of the track. After questioning the loss of our track, I was told that the district sold the land and a business was going on the corner of Main Street and College. I later found out that the property has not been officially sold, but the destruction of our property proceeded. CISD did this based on the assumption that the land would be sold. The track has been cut by 20%. Through an email conversation with Carl Berg, a new path was to be cut out along the fence line to offset the part of the track that we lost. I later received a map of the project, which did not show a new path, but a curved path that shortened the track even further. It was later revealed that the track was shortened because there was no money left to restore the track to its original length. The track is used every day by our students as part of our walking and jogging program to promote physical activity. The track is also used for our family night events. We promote a yearly turkey trot, an annual color run, and a school cross-country race. The color run alone brings in 300 to 350 participants and over 500 people in attendance, and it's been featured in the Baytown Sun and the GCCIC website. The track and surrounding fields are also used by the community daily. The Highlands Little League teams practice on these 3 bright baseball fields. If the district sells the land, the teams will have to find a new place to practice. Residents walk and jog on the track daily. Others play soccer and football, etc. on the grass fields. It is used all the time and really is the only safe area for the families to exercise. If the land is sold and a commercial business comes in, such as a fast food chain, the traffic will increase in the area. Our parents and students in the car rider line will be at more risk of an accident before and after school. We've already received visits in the past from our transportation department and the police department about our traffic situation. Disappointment and frustration are 2 words that come to my mind about this whole situation. Why does the district want to trade a teaching station for money? That is a formula for failure. The track is used every day by the school and the community, and I highly recommend not to sell the property and request it to be placed back in its regular state with the track back to its normal size and the surrounding land to be used for community activities. I close with a question for each of you. Would you sell property on the campuses of Austin, Banuelos, Walker, Clark, Gentry, or any other Goose Creek CIC campus for use of a commercial business and take away their educational space? If your answer is no, then why is it considered okay for Highlands Elementary? Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Mr. Coons. Our third speaker is it Denise? Desiree? Desiree Klaus. Please come forward.
Good evening. My name is Desiree Klaus, and I'm here to speak on the decision of the schools district to display the 10 Commandments in each classroom in Goose Creek ISD schools. I never thought that this day would come where I would have to be having to speak up against religious indoctrination within our schools. I'm a lifelong Baytonian and also an alumnus of Goose Creek ISD. I attended Highlands Elementary, Junior High, and Sterling High School, and never once in my time as a student was religion talked about or imposed upon me as a student. But yet here we are 37 years later, and my children are being imposed upon by an unconstitutional bill that the federal law already states Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the exercise thereof. If I wanted my children to learn about religion in schools, we would have enrolled them in a private Catholic school. And it seems to me that Goose Creek ISD is pro-privatization of education based on its inaction to defy this Texas bill and to instead bend at the whims of the alt-right conservative administration without even considering the parents and families you are elected to serve. While y'all have wasted time and resources on putting up this document in every single classroom in GCC ISD, the Bill of Rights doesn't even get the luxury or even the Pledge of Allegiance. So for those that are here in person and listening online, that's called indoctrination. Baytown and GCC ISD has a diverse community that lives, learns, and thrives in this community. Shame on y'all. We, the community, elected y'all to implement and drive the best environment for educational learning and curriculum, not moral or religious indoctrinations from political party agendas. Who are y'all really working for? The Republican Party's agenda, or y'all just opted out like y'all have in the past, choosing to not speak up? The silence is deafening. Not only am I disappointed, but I am concerned that this school board doesn't have the best interest of our students, teachers, or community.
1 minute.
What's next? The dismantling of this school district? I hope not. But this decision to post the 10 Commandments is just the beginning. It's a stepping stone to see what else the alt-right Christian agenda can impose on public education next. Will next year be prayers before every class, then the teachings of the Bible? I'm not asking for miracles. I'm asking for this board to actually listen, engage, and do what is best for all of our students and families, not just political party agendas. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Klaus. And that concludes citizens' participation. We'll move on to item number 4 on the agenda, recognitions and acknowledgements. Dr. Price, I turn it back over to you.
Thank you, President Capizzi. At this time, we will move into our recognition and acknowledgement section. We will start off with CTE, NOAA, and Leah Miller.
Good evening, President Campisi, Dr. O'Brien, and members of the board. I am pleased to share that we have been selected as one of only 6 recipients and the only school district across the Gulf states to receive funding from the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering and Medicine's Gulf Research Program. Our awarded project, Empowering Youth for Urban Resilience, Hurricane and Stormwater Solutions in Baytown, Texas, has received a 3-year grant totaling $690,000. To celebrate, let me clap. To celebrate this outstanding national recognition, awarded grant, we would like to honor the following key stakeholders for their leadership and partnership in securing and supporting this grant. First up, City of Baytown Mayor Charles Johnson. The Baytown Wetlands Center, Gina Faith. From ExxonMobil, Rebecca Matlock and Orjanelle Lewis. From Texas A&M University at Galveston, Dr. Dini Adiasari. From Lee College, Dr. Priscilla Sanchez. From University of Houston, Clear Lake, Dr. Michelle Peters. And from our team at Goose Creek CISD, Mr. Richard Clem, Dr. Susan Jackson, Ginger McKay, Cameron Jackson, and I'm going to join the picture too.
All right, our next 4 awards, we're going to ask that Dr. Anna Espinoza come up.
Good evening. Get comfortable. I'm going to be here for a while. All right, our first one, the Get on the Bus Employee Giving Campaign, has been an ongoing initiative within the Goose Creek CISD for several years, designed to encourage district employees to support the Education Foundation through regular donations. These contributions directly fund programs like the Innovative Teaching Grants, scholarships, and other initiatives that enhance educational opportunities for students. This campaign is crucial because it fosters a sense of community within our district, allowing employees to actively contribute to the success of our students and our teachers. By supporting the Education Foundation, staff members make a direct impact on the innovative teaching and learning happening every day in our classrooms. So I'm excited to announce this year's top performing campuses and departments in employee participation. We have our top elementary campus, Harlem Elementary. Our top secondary campus is Impact Early College High School. And our top auxiliary department is the Central Administration Building. So these locations will receive a special breakfast this month, sponsored by Family First ER, as a token of appreciation for their commitment to giving back. So I'm going to hop in. All right, next up. We're very excited to announce that the Goose Creek CISD Education Foundation has been awarded a $10,000 grant from the CenterPoint Energy Foundation in support of STEM Academy Robotics. As a nonprofit organization, we partner with the community to provide resources that enrich teaching, inspire learning, and create opportunities for excellence in education for all GCC ISD students. The foundation will transfer these funds to the district for implementation of the STEM Academy Robotics program, which will enhance our hands-on learning opportunities to further develop student skills in science, technology, engineering, and math. And we would like to extend a special recognition to Leah Miller, who she served as the point person for this opportunity, and she led the charge in securing this funding. So her leadership and collaboration were instrumental in bringing this grant forward. So we are also very grateful to CenterPoint Energy for their continued investment in our students. All right, we are also proud to announce that we have received a $175,000 grant from the ExxonMobil Foundation to support GCC ISD STEM Resources 2025 initiative. This funding will help expand access to STEM education across the district through several different innovative projects, including our junior high robotics program, virtual reality career exploration, and hands-on environmental science learning experiences in partnership with Artist Boat. Together, these initiatives will provide meaningful, real-world learning opportunities that inspire students to pursue high-demand careers in STEM. We would like to give a special recognition to our district's CTE and CNI teams for collaborating with the Education Foundation to make this proposal possible. Their vision and commitment for student success were instrumental in securing this opportunity. We also extend appreciation to Connie Tilton from ExxonMobil for approaching us about this grant, and we are honored to welcome Rebecca Matlock and Orjanelle Lewis from ExxonMobil, who are joining us this evening. All right, last one. All right, we are pleased to share that the Education Foundation has received a corporate donation for $5,000 from ExxonMobil in support of the Math Counts program. Math Counts is a national middle school math enrichment and competition program that builds problem-solving skills and fosters a love for STEM among students in grades 6 through 8. ExxonMobil's contribution will enhance this year's event by providing t-shirts, medals, and a celebratory awards banquet to recognize student achievement and inspire continued excellence in mathematics.
Hey, that was like $880,000 we just racked in. That's awesome.
Great job.
At this time, President Capizzi, we turn the meeting back over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Price. We'll move on to item number 5 of the agenda, which is approval of minutes. Before us, we have October 6, 2025 regular board meeting. We've reviewed those prior to this meeting. What is the pleasure of the board?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
A second?
I have a motion by Mrs. Guy and a second by Mr. Clem to approve October 6 minutes. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by raising your hand. I see 7 for and 0 against. The motion carries. 5B, approval of minutes for the October 8th, 2025 Team of 8 training meeting. What is the pleasure of the board?
I move to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Mr. Sampson to approve the October 8th minutes. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by raising your hand. We were all here. Okay, seeing 7 for, 0 against, the motion passes unanimously and they're approved. At this time, we will go into the first of 2 closed sessions in this meeting. So the board will now recess into closed session pursuant to one or more of the following sections of Texas Government Code. Sections 551.071 and 551.074. No action will be taken while the board is in closed session. The time is now 6:34 p.m. That was weak. All right, the board will now reconvene in open session. The time is now 7:57 p.m. No action was taken while the board was in closed session. We'll move on to item number 8 on the agenda, discussion items, superintendent reports. Dr. O'Brien, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Our first up is the financial report presented to you by our very own CFO, Bridget Clark, and Director of Finance, Leanna Johnson. Leanna Price. I tried.
Just a little bit off.
23 is a one name. It's hard to adjust
Yes.
to the new name.
That's why he's retiring. Can't remember nothing. Senior moment.
Can't remember the new name, but we got you, Miss Leanna.
Yes.
Welcome.
Well, good evening, President Campisi, board members, Dr. O'Brien. At the request of the board and in the spirit of transparency, we have been requested to present to you interim financial reports, which will be presented to you all on a monthly basis here forward. This particular start-off report, if you will, is going to be for the cumulative quarter, July, August, and September. After this one, it will be on a monthly basis by the month. And with that, I will turn it over to Ms. Price.
Good evening, President Campisi, Board of Trustees, Dr. O'Brien. This presentation will give an in-depth overview of Goose Creek CISD financial position for quarter ending September 30th, 2025. We will review the general fund, debt service fund, and food service fund and how it aligns with the district's financial stewardship goals. Future superintendent reports will be a condensed version of the general fund financials. The district's financial management aligns directly with the strategic plan priorities of financial stewardship. All financial decisions are guided by board policy, state and federal laws. Each year, we adopt and manage a budget in alignment with our district's goals, ensuring both compliance and transparency. It is essentially our roadmap, helping us make decisions based for staffing, programs, and services throughout the year. Under Texas Education Code, Section 44002 and 44.004, every public school district must adopt an annual budget by function before the fiscal year begins. For the following funds: General Fund, which is our day-to-day operations and instruction; our Debt Service Fund, which is where we make our payments for our approved debt; and the Food Service Fund, which is our child nutrition operations. The goal is to remain compliant with TEA and FIRST, our Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas standards, and demonstrating financial responsibility. Here's an executive summary of the three major funds. For General Fund, it is projected to end the year with a fund balance of $98 million, which is maintaining the 25% reserve requirement. Our Food Service Fund is projecting a fund balance of $6 million, covering about 3 months of operating expenses, which is right in line with the reserve requirements. And then the Debt Service Fund, we show to be on track to close with about $42.5 million after bond payments. This will be reduced by the recently approved refunding, which is currently being calculated. So for the General Fund, here's a snapshot summary of how it's projecting to end the year. This shows our day-to-day, this is our day-to-day functions for instruction and district business. We continue to balance with rising costs such as salaries and benefits while continuing to maintain sufficient reserves. However, note that in the revenue projection, there is a one-time transfer in from capital improvement funds of about $12.3 million. This will not be available in the next year's budget. So this is a one-time increase.
So I'm going to jump in right there for just 1 second. So you see on line 3 there, the 403,000 negative estimated decrease to fund balance for general fund. If you add the 12.2 or 12.3, then you're going to have like about, $12.7 million deficit starting out just with those two items. So I just wanted to point that out so you all are aware. I know you were aware during the budget talks that that's what we did, but just to point that out for emphasis.
And here is a breakdown of the general fund expenditures by function. And again, the breakdown is as of September 30th with the projection of what we're anticipating by June 30th. The revenues and expenditures are preliminary at this point in the fiscal year, and we typically see significant changes as property taxes received and the federal revenues are recognized. We are also currently monitoring average daily attendance as it directly impacts the revenue that we receive through state funding, and that changes throughout the year. We have not received any updates from TEA on the rules of unfunded mandates, which would also add an increase to the deficit. The debt service fund is continuing to perform well. Tax collections remain consistent, supporting our ability to make our debt obligations. The projected ending restricted fund balance of $42.5 million is sufficient to support recently approved refunding transactions. This will help us reduce long-term costs and strengthen the district's debt profile. And on this slide, again, we have the debt service fund financials. Revenues are primarily from the tax collections, which we'll receive in December and January, so that's why they're still low at this time. Included in the set of expenditures is the recently, if you look at the estimated revenue column, is the anticipated bond defeasance of 15.525. That amount will increase, the total expenditure will increase by the refunding once we have that calculation. On our food service fund, it's operating within expectations. The projected fund balance is providing about 3 months of reserve, which is, it meets the state and federal standards. This reflects effective management in our nutrition program. And here's the food service revenue and expenditures. The program continues to operate efficiently. Revenues are primarily from federal reimbursements, which are currently on hold due to the government shutdown and are pending the outcome of the vote that is currently going on. Expenditures include food and supply costs, as well as equipment upgrades and staffing expenses tied to maintaining compliance with nutritional and safety standards. This fund has a planned decrease in the fund balance, which is part of the district's strategic plan to spend down that was approved by TDA.
And just to reiterate, the Child Nutrition Fund of the 3 legally adopted budgets, the debt service and general fund and food service, the food service fund is the only one that is a federal fund that is required to be legally adopted by the board. So it is subject, to the, the whims of the federal government, if you will. So before the government shutdown was signaling the end, as it is now, even though it's not complete, that we are going to get, there is going to be a vote shortly on the shutdown itself. But at that time, prior to that, we were not sure what the reimbursements were going to be for November, if anything. So now we're hopeful that we will get those reimbursements as we're supposed to.
This concludes the financial reporting for the quarter ending September 30th, 2025. We'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Well, one good thing is you presented a quarterly report, and I noticed that we've spent 24% of the budget, a quarter of the budget. So we're on track is what it sounds like.
Yes, sir.
Are there any, let me see how I want to phrase this. I know we have free and reduced lunches. Does that go for every kid or just certain population of kids? In other words, if I walk through the line, I get free lunch.
I think he's talking about universal breakfast, universal meals versus the application process.
We have about, is it 78% free and reduced right now? So 20% plus paid. So, and the other portion is free and reduced. So most of our kids are free and reduced.
Do they have to qualify for this particular?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So anyone else over a certain income has to pay whatever amount we...
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I was just curious how many we had exactly.
Yeah.
So, and the breakfast is free for all students, regardless of income status.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that report. What I'm seeing, I've reviewed these numbers before tonight, is we are on track and we are looking pretty good for this fiscal year, correct?
Absolutely. Yes, we are.
And I did ask that this be presented monthly, so the board will be able to switch gears if need be, like in years past where we kind of got caught a little late. So we look forward to seeing these reports regularly. Is there anything that the board wants to see on these reports that we have not seen tonight? I think it was very thorough, very much on track.
How about
It's a separate fund, but we
Okay.
can certainly bring it to the board as well for updates.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
he asked what we would like to hear.
That's a
The other
great
thing
addition.
would be land. How much land do we got? You know, I guess in terms of money, how much,
You want to comment?
how would we include that in the budget? Because that's actually money we have, you know, that's there, but in terms of land. The reason I'm asking, because, you know, I think personally, like, if we own the Bicentennial Park, right? So, you know, what do we use that for? You know, to me, we don't use it for anything. The city uses it. You know, we could sell some of that land and we would fix a lot of our budget problems. I think we're holding on to tying up money in properties that we don't even use, you know. So that would be one of the questions that pops into my mind. Why do we keep holding on to this land when we're not using it? When we're having budget problems, you know, we can't do certain things with teachers, and especially at a time when we're struggling to find good teachers, you know. So for me, it's just my opinion that we could really enhance our budget for things that we need versus having properties that we want out there that are not bringing us any money or doing anything. And I know that we got a lot of properties because I've seen an email with the properties on it. And I looked it over and I'm like, wow, why are we keeping all these properties when we don't even use them? So I'm just curious how that would, if we were to sell some of our properties, what kind of impact that would have on a positive impact on our budget and capital improvements is some that I said, where did that money come from? You know, and then it's capital improvements, and then we find money for this. And, you know, I really think that we need to do a real inventory and look at all the properties, every budget, even if it's capital improvements, everyone down to the superintendent's budget or up to the superintendent's budget where we have budgets that we're not looking at, that were not there. And I just think that we need to do a holistic approach to this money and budget. It would help us solve all the problems that we're having right now with money.
So my question, I guess, Ms. Clark, is that something that would fall in financial report, or would that fall elsewhere?
Well, the
Or
financial,
it could be linked?
the financial reporting piece could certainly, we could certainly bring the CIP report, we do bring that as full disclosure, even though it's not a legally adopted budget, we do bring it to you all whenever we go through the budget adoption process. As far as the land, we can certainly give you an inventory
Well,
of the.
I have a comment on that.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes, I had, at the request of the president previously, had asked our community engagement team to work with the facilities department to gather that information. So in the very near future, I've already seen a draft of this product, and the board will have a complete binder incorporating all land inventory, so you'll know where every single piece of property we own. And the other comment I would make on that is that we have been in negotiations with other parties that may or may not be interested in our property, and we may have interest in their property, namely the city of Baytown. And that negotiation has been ongoing for at least 5 years. So we are, with the new mayor, we think that may move forward, that we are able to help one another out with those properties. So it's been in negotiations. We're aware of the land inventory that sits there and does nothing, doesn't collect taxes because it's owned by a government entity. We're very well aware of that. We're trying to work with each of our legal counsels to move that negotiation process forward. But you'll have that inventory in your hands in the very near future.
Right. I appreciate that. And I'm not worried so much about, I know you said the legal process. I'm looking at the money process. Let's look at what kind of money we got out there that's just sitting there. You know, if we're not, like the Bicentennial Park, hey, I love the Bicentennial Park, but why do we own it? We don't do nothing with it. It's not, no function with us. So again, I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but you know, there's things out there that we need to bring into focus because of our budgets or lacking
And that
in our
was part
budgets.
of my request, Mr. Renteria,
Okay.
for a full property inventory on that. And that's why you got that email. And then we're going to have something
But another
more
example,
comprehensive coming.
because it is owned by the district, it's, we don't have a realtor per se, but we can advertise properties for sale. And just a side note, the old Pumphrey property has been for sale for my entire tenure. And it has a for sale sign up, 21 plus or minus acres right there on Baker Road.
Yeah.
And we've had a little interest over the years, but there has to be a buyer, is my point. So
Right.
it's not a matter of having the land and being willing to sell the land. It's a matter of having interested parties. Our proposal to the city for the city lots that we've inherited through tax collections is to allow them to provide those to a developer who would come in and build homes on those vacant lots. So we've worked with them.
Whatever they do with them, it doesn't matter to us. They can do whatever. We just, you know, it's money.
Well, they
we
just
got
have to have
tied
an
up,
interest.
You know, and then here's my concern. We just bought that church over there by Robert E. Lee, you know. Why? We're still buying properties, you know, and we have properties tied up everywhere, money tied up everywhere. And to me, that's not good business. See, he said it. His whole tenure, we've had properties out there that, like this one school, that hasn't just been sitting there. You know, we have everyday financial obligations to meet every day, whether it's for our, you know, staying up with our good teachers that we need to bring in and pay them, raises, you know, we got all insurance, you know, we got all kinds of stuff. And I think that as a board, Randy's out. So, I mean, and I'm just being serious. He's being out. We as a board need to give leadership and get those properties sold and bring in that money and quit buying more properties that we don't need and that we don't have money to fix or do anything.
I don't disagree with you, Mr. Renteria, but that's kind of a property conversation.
No, but it's budget. It's money.
But Ms. Clark, I think you're good on what we're looking for, tying the properties to the finance report.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for cutting me off, but it's a valid argument that, you know, we need money and we got money out there. We're not in the business of real estate. We're in the business of educating kids. And if we can bring that money in and put it in our general fund to be able to attract these great teachers to come to our school district, I think it would help in our situation with our academics, the problems we're having with our elementary schools and academics. Those kinds, there's a right way to bring in the right people to help us. And we're doing that right now with trying to attract the right superintendent. And so, it's a budget issue, it's a money issue, you get what you pay for, okay? And we got a lot of money out there in the properties, and we need to bring it in and use it where we need it, not where we want it or where it's just sitting there. That was my whole point.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for that. One thing I'll say, Mr. Renteria, is I did ask for a monthly report moving forward. And I'm confident we're going to get that. And this report can be fluid for whatever we want to add or take away from it.
Right.
This one was obviously longer because we haven't had one in a while.
Right.
But I just want to make a note. We look at budget for 6 or 7 months out of the year when it's time, or finances 6 or 7 months out of the year when we're preparing a budget.
Right.
But I feel as president, we need to follow up on that budget and make sure that we're on track on a monthly basis. And that way, if we need to make changes along the road, we can do that in a timely manner. So thank y'all so much for presenting that report. It's very thorough. Are there any other questions for this panel?
Good job. Thank
you.
you.
We'll see you again next month.
Thank you.
Our next presentation will be our special populations update. Members of our CNI team will come on up. Executive Council found this presentation very interesting. It'll reveal some unknown information to us. We're excited to share with the board this evening. Welcome.
Okay, good evening, President Campisi, school board members, and Dr. O'Brien. We have two groups. We'll be starting off with Ms. Torres, and then we'll be moving on to the special ed and the special programs total umbrella populations here. When we get through with each section, we'll stop and give you a chance to ask questions so that you can kind of keep your mind on that program. So turning it over to Sam.
Yes, hi, good evening.
Well, it would be helpful if I pushed it, right?
All right. Good evening. It's great to be here once again with you all. It's been almost a year, so thank you for this opportunity. We're going to start with some updates for the Multilingual and Migrant Department. I'm Sam Torres Banda. I oversee the Multilingual and Migrant Department. And with me today, I have Amy Magby. She is one of our secondary instructional specialists. And I'm also going to call out another one of my specialists that is in the crowd. She's here for moral support, and you might hear her cheer just a little bit in the back. Ms. Belinda Morales, if you don't mind raising your hand. Yay! She's here as well. So thank you for this opportunity. And this is our beautiful logo. Shout out to Community Partnership that actually created this for us on community engagement. So we're going to start off with the home languages that we have in Goose Creek. The last time that I presented, we had about 35 languages in the district, and now we have over 43 in the district. We have a wonderful, diverse district, and it's beautiful to see it evolve. Overall, the home languages that we have, the top one that we have, obviously, it's English, and then our second population that we have of home languages is Spanish, followed by our Vietnamese students, and then our Arabic. The rest of the languages that we serve fall under other. Our home languages is actually aligned with the state. So when you look at the PEMS data from the state, Spanish is the second language, Vietnamese is the third, and then Arabic is the fourth. So here you'll see the enrollment that we have of emergent bilingual students throughout the years. You'll see a progressive growth over the years. These numbers are actually the numbers for the end of every year. However, right now you'll see that our current enrollment is right at, I looked at our membership report today, and is right at 6,006, which does show a slight decrease of overall enrollment. We know that we have had an overall drop of enrollment in our district. In talking with other directors in the surrounding area, they have also seen a decline in enrollment, and it could be for multiple reasons. Even statewide, we have seen a drop in emergent bilinguals as well. In our partnership with Student Services, what we've looked at is some of the reasons are that they've moved to other states. Some of the students are being homeschooled. Some of them are not enrolling in school. We have some pre-Ks that the parents chose not to enroll them. And others have moved to other Texas cities. We are watching this very carefully to see what we can do to ensure that students that are within our area are coming to school as well, though. So now we're looking at our reclassification students. These are the students that have met English proficiency as indicated by the state, meaning that they have reached the level of language proficiency indicating that they are English proficient. So you can see here the growth that we've had in 2022, and this is district-wide, okay? This is from first grade all the way through 12th grade. In 2022, we had 12 students. In 2023, we had 31, and over the past 2 years, we've consistently had over 300 students reclassify. And what that means is that, once again, these students have met the criteria to be English proficient. Results-driven accountability. So what this is, it's a system that TEA uses to measure how well districts are supporting students in specific populations. And I know that my SPED friends are also going to go over this as well. So what RDA looks at is at data such as STAR and TELPAS. Then we get assigned a determination level. This is the area where you want to get a 0, 1, or a 2, right? The lower the number, the more support the students are receiving. It's not necessarily a punishment, but more so an opportunity to see areas of strengths and areas of opportunities, which we'll see in the next slide. So the strengths that we've had over the past year have been for our students after they reclassify, which means TEA still tracks how our students are doing and performing in STAR even after the emergent bilingual label comes off. We've been doing very, very well in that. We've also been doing very well in reading and language arts performance in our grade levels 3rd through 8th, including science. Our students that are taking EOCs, such as Algebra 1, Biology, and U.S. History, are above the target areas that TEA has indicated. Some of the areas of opportunity are EB Star performance, such as social studies. We know that's an area of need as a district, so we're ensuring that we're collaborating with our social studies peers to ensure that we're supporting all of our students, including our teachers. Another area of opportunity is our students that are still performing at the beginning level of language proficiency. While it's a small percentage, it's still an area of opportunity for us, and it's an area of focus. And I do want to bring awareness to, while we're meeting the descriptor and the level of the reading, language arts, and science, it still is an area for opportunity. So I want to highlight that as well. So some of the things that we're doing to support all stakeholders is for our elementary, we have dual language support plans. We have specific campuses that we have targeted, and we've developed support plans where we're doing campus walks with the administrators. We're building capacity among their TLCs. Our specialists are going out and collaborating with our CNI friends and conducting walks to ensure that we're collaborating and strengthening our partnerships so that we can continue to support the campuses at every level. We have a collaboration partnership with Region 4 with Bluebonnet to ensure that we're supporting our teachers, and we cannot forget about our pre-K friends. We're meeting their needs as well. We're providing them with professional development so that we can make sure that we're solidifying our students' first language, and we are helping them learn the second language so we can facilitate that transfer. In secondary, we are also working with specific campuses, creating plans that meet their specific needs. We have paraprofessionals that we're training that are coming on board. We just did a training not too long ago with a campus because we want to make sure that our paraprofessionals also, we're building the capacity among them to support the students that they're in the classroom with. Last but not least, our parents. We're supporting our parents. I'm sure you all have seen a lot of the wonderful things that Goose Creek is doing with our families to build to bridge the gap that we've had for a long time so that we can support them. And that is our Dual Language Parent Academy and our TELPAS Family Night that Ms. Amy Magby is going to discuss with you all.
We are doing some really great things in the community. We're holding virtual and in-person meetings for dual language parents to accommodate them either way. With topics such as how do children learn 2 languages, supporting literacy at home, understanding academic assessments like STAR and TELPAS, as well as learning about opportunities like the Seal of Biliteracy, AP classes, and test preparation for college. We also hosted a TELPAS family night for the first time in Goose Creek history, and families were able to navigate throughout stations that included listening, speaking, reading, and writing. We also had a station for our TELPAS readiness software program, Summit K-12, and another station where we showed families how to log into the Texas assessment site to view their child's scores, and they were able to listen to their TELPAS speaking responses on TELPAS.
That is also new. I know I've mentioned it to some of our board members, but now the parents, when they log on to the Texas assessment, they are able to listen to their child's speaking responses in TELPAS, and that is new this year. And a lot of the families were not aware of that, so that's something that we're working on further educating them on.
Dia del Nino, our department is part of the Hispanic Outreach Committee, where we partner with community engagement to host our district's most attended event, Dia del Nino. It's a great opportunity where we welcome families and community partners.
And I also want to highlight that we're going to be expanding it this year to include how other countries also celebrate Dia del Nino. So we're doing a lot of wonderful, great things in our partnership with community engagement.
And for our community, we have adult education, as our department has partnered with Peter E. Highland Empower Academy and Harris County Department of Education to offer adult classes to our community, GED classes in both English and Spanish, citizenship classes, and ESL classes.
And we had a very, very high interest. When we first sent out the interest survey, Harris County Department of Education was like, well, you'll probably get, like a few. I know Dr. Jackson and I were like, oh, let's see what happens. Let's let them find out on their own. They thought they were going to get about 20 or 50. We got 500 individuals that were interested in taking these classes. So it shows a need in our community, and they've been very, very appreciative of the support and the other initiatives that we're doing also for our parents.
We also offer various initiatives to tackle the bilingual ESL teacher shortage, such as our Giant Con sessions, one-on-one support, district recorded presentations, test prep manuals, TEA resources, certification reimbursement, and we partner with HR to offer bilingual and ESL stipends.
That concludes the portion of our department. Do you all have any questions for us that you'd like for us to answer at this time?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So if we go back to the determination levels, let me find the slide. Okay. So we had 2 for a couple years, which is needs assistance, and then we went to a 1 in 22-23, and then back to a 2 in 23-24. Do we know why?
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. So in 2023, I totally missed to say that, so I'm glad you caught that. So in 2023, what happened was that TEA, there was a lot of indicators that were not counted into the factoring process. So that is why, because I look back and I was like, wait a minute, what did we do in 2023? What happened? Because we know why we didn't get one in 2020, because that's the pandemic. But when we looked back at 2023, there were about 12 indicators, and they only factored in 5 of them, because what TA was doing was collecting data and updating it specifically for bilingual education. This didn't apply to our SPED friends, only for bilingual education, so that's why. But we're gonna get a 1.
So do we know what we need to do to get a 1? That's my next question.
Oh, absolutely. It's in the areas of need is, our main one right now is social studies, specifically
So it's
in
just
junior
our
high.
performance is what's causing the 2?
That and our students that are still in the beginning stages of TELPAS. Even though it's a small percentage, it's an area that definitely we need to improve on, because those are areas where we have a 3 in.
Okay.
That's how we target those areas.
Okay. And then just one more quick question.
Yeah, please.
How is a 2 going to trigger like an audit?
No, not for bilingual ESL.
Okay.
A 3 or a 4 would be different, but for us, a 2 is not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was working in the district when we went through it. Audit for our ESL student because of performance.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
That will not happen. We won't let that happen. We have wonderful people in place and a lot of support, so thank you. Anything else? Great questions, Ms. Guy.
Just at the Dia del Nino next year, can you invite Mr. Renteria to play the accordion?
He is actually our top performer and our MC. He might not know that yet.
Oh.
Hey, give me a couple.
We're going to sign you up now. Well,
No, but, it's school hours, I think.
it's after hours. You're good. I'll bring the mic.
I have a question. On the number drop, can we go back to that screen on the numbers? Okay. We went from 6,000 to 6,600 to 6,001. You said
Currently.
6,008?
6,006 as of today.
Okay. So you mentioned that we lost some to homeschooling. We lost some because they moved. We lost some because they're not enrolled. But you didn't mention the charter school Bob Hope, or you didn't mention the Christian Academy or Barbers Hill. Can you unpack some of that a little bit more and tell me or help me understand why and where we lost those 2 and how we know those, or if we know those numbers that we're talking about?
So we actually pulled those numbers with Carrie, looking at them pretty in depth. We have a lot of what at the elementary of L98s, meaning we think they went back to their home country, but we're trying to get confirmation and they're working on that. But their priority is grades 7 through 12 because that's where our accountability hits. So that our biggest concern that we feel and our counterparts feel is that with the political environment, most of those kids are not in charter school or public school right now.
Yeah, I got you. So
because they would be listed, instead of being an L98, which is the code we use for dropout, they would have a different listing, and it would include where they transferred to. But in essence, we typically do not have L98 elementary students. It's normally high school students that drop out. In this case, we have L98 elementary children. So they're missing in action. We can't label it because no one's given us any information. They've just not shown up, not given us any information. No one's requested their record. So in essence, we have elementary kids that are dropouts, but they're truly not dropouts. They're just not identified at this point in time.
So do we have any numbers?
L16s, which means they have they are returned to their home country.
Yeah, I got it. But do we have numbers on the true dropouts, like the people that are in high school? Because
yes, we have 13 students total at the secondary that are identified. And when I say 13, not 13 total dropouts, I would be really excited about that. 13 total emergent bilingual students that are dropouts. But at the elementary, we currently have close to 70.
Wow.
So
But I was just differentiating between what he said about the people that have moved, the elementary, versus the ones that are here that are just not going to school.
Correct.
For whatever reason.
Well, that L98 could very well be that they've moved in with somebody from here into Barbers Hill, but aren't going there either. We've not received any records or we're trying to find them and try to get a hold of somebody. Right. You go make a home visit and there's nobody there.
Okay. I'm just curious.
And I want to say I'm proud of the principals and the counselors who are going door to door. They're knocking, trying to find out a destination of the children. So they're boots on the ground trying to locate these children. So we're not just sitting back
No, no,
calling them dropouts. We're working to try to locate them. It's just the last known address oftentimes is a vacant property.
yeah.
I knew that that question was going to come up today, so we looked at those numbers in depth today with Carrie Smith to be able to say, hey, this is because we realized that we're down 600 students in the district, and we happen to be down 600 students in an emergent bilingual program, so that's kind of connected there.
Yeah, and it's impacting not just our school numbers and growing, but financially.
Yes,
Because
sir.
all those kids, I don't know what, 600 times, whatever it is that we get for the kids, it impacts our budget. So
Yes, sir.
it affects us all, I guess. I was just curious.
And we want the students in school, obviously. We want to
Absolutely.
make sure that we're educating them. So like Dr. O'Brien said, kudos very much to our administrators, our counselors, all the stakeholders at the campuses, and the truancy department. Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that because they're working, you know, around the clock to make sure that
I
our
get it.
students.
I just get concerned when I see a drop like that.
I'm
from
just
year-
hoping that by the end of the year,
Huh?
I'll get all those 600 babies. That's
Okay.
fingers crossed.
I got you.
Any other questions for us? Thank you. It's always great to see you all. Thank you so much.
All right, so it's now time to turn to special programs update. So I'm Holly Ferris, Senior Director of Special Programs, and my team is Miss Ritter, who is our Director of Special Education, and Rachel Brady, who is our Director of Intervention. So we're going to start by looking at our special ed programs, and you will see resource inclusion. We have over 100 classrooms in our district. Life skills, we went down by 1 based on numbers, but if you will notice an increase in our silk. So our silk is where a lot of our nonverbal autistic students, more severe autistic students are placed. We also have focus, which are our higher functioning students typically with autism. And then we went up by 2 classrooms there. Behavior actually went down by 2 classrooms. Our ECSE, which used to be PPCD, is the same. And then dyslexia is another disability where we're seeing a huge increase. So we had to add 4 classrooms, or we repurposed maybe 4 resource teachers made them into dyslexia teachers. So those are our classroom programs for this school year. Our next slide is showing how many students are in the district, and so the number may be a little different than what was submitted to you because I updated it this morning based on the membership report. So district-wide, we have 24,022 students. In special ed, we have 4,475 students with special needs. And so that percentage is 18.62 for this school year. You will notice that we have increased by 1,700 special education students, right at 1,700 since COVID, basically. And Ms. Ritter's going to talk in just a little bit about what the increases are as far as disability. You will notice also our students in 504, that number has went down. And so with that has to do with dyslexia now being under special education. So a lot of our students that used to be under 504 were tested and are now being serviced under special ed. So any student that is receiving dyslexia services are under the special education umbrella now. Those students who are only receiving accommodations can still be serviced under 504. However, they cannot receive direct instruction under 504. So our percentage of 504 students went down a little. We're at 5.37, but if you look at those numbers together, there's about 25% of our students that are students with disabilities in our district. So that's a considerable amount of students. So our RDA, just like Sam talked about earlier, we are at a 2, and so we've been a 2 for the last 4 years. We were very close to a 1. I will tell you that when our RDA came out, I was texting Mr. Husband going, please look at this. I think we're close to a 1. So we actually were 0.4 points from determination level 1. So close. So we were just, crossing our fingers and everything. But when it came out, we were a 2. And so there are actually 24 different indicators that go into that. And so, everything from the timelines for assessment on time for our, testing students. There's
things that have to do with STAR, our dropout rate, graduation rate. So there's lots of factors that go into that rating for us. So some of our strengths, our graduation rate was 87.6% for special education. We had a 0% dropout rate, which is huge. And then students who exit special ed, so the students that were able to exit out are outperforming their peers. So that was one of the things that we saw. And then inclusion, we're at 71% of our students in special ed are included in regular classrooms. So we're very proud of that. And so some of the opportunities, our SPED STAR performance, while we have seen increases in some of our SPED students, that is still an area of concern for us. And so we're really hoping with our new Bluebonnet curriculum and us, trying to get as many kids included as possible that we'll see significant gains with our students there. And then our preschool inclusion, this is really our 3-year-olds. So we do not have a place for inclusion for our 3-year-olds. So we know that that is an area of need for us, and we've kind of been talking on what that may look like in the future for us. So we know that that's something that we struggle with because we don't have a place for our 3-year-olds where they're same age peers that are regular ed right now.
I do want to expand on that. We have an idea, but we are crammed in space. So if we were able to put those 3-year-old students in the same facility as our daycare center, they would be in their peer group. But we don't have enough classes there. So as we look at enrollment, as we look at things, that's something that we may bring back to the table for y'all. But we know that's our only way to put them in that peer group because those are the 3-year-olds.
Okay, we're going to look at the referrals that were submitted to the district for special education evaluation. Last year, we received 1,137 folders. The referral team was able to review 842 of the folders, and after obtaining informed consent, 894 students were evaluated for special education services. 35 parents declined testing or revoked consent. Out of those evaluations, we had 139 students that were found not eligible. That's a 16% did not qualify rate, and really our target, we want to reduce that to around 10%. It'll help with accuracy in our referrals and also cost efficiency. 720 students were found eligible for special education services just last year. And some of those were that were under Section 504 that moved over to special education. Also, our parent referrals, the folders that were submitted, 52% of the folders that were submitted came from parents and 48% came from the campuses. We really would like the campuses to be initiating those referrals because we are obligated by Child Find. Ms. Ritter's going to talk about Child Find a little bit more in depth. And with looking at our data from the referrals, the multi-tiered system of support trainings started out at the elementary campuses so we can address some of those intervention practices and documentations. We really wanted to, I started with training the elementaries because that's where the majority of our referrals come from. So I'm meeting with the grade level teams. So it's a smaller setting with the teachers to kind of talk about the intervention processes, talk about documentation requirements, and also talk about the intervention resources that we use at the campus. On the flip side of that, we also are training administrators on the Wednesday referral meetings. We really want them to dive into the data that they're collecting for those referrals to ensure that the referrals are accurate when they're being, and they really suspect that the student has a disability, especially a specific learning disability, because if we suspect a student has a specific learning disability like dyslexia, that data is coming from the classroom. It's learning data, and so we want to ensure that it's an accurate referral before it goes to the district to be reviewed. And if we get the administrators really digging into that data, then that's going to help us decrease those referrals and really those unnecessary referrals that are coming to us that are and the rate of the students who do not qualify for special education services, that rate will come down.
Child Find. So it is a federal mandate under IDEA. So we are required to evaluate all the students within our jurisdiction, even if they are in a private school, who need special ed and related services. So we can't take a passive approach, it has to be an active approach. So we consider it passive if the parent sends us a referral. We really want campuses out there identifying students for special education. Next. So as far as our students who turn 3, we do work with our Early Childhood Intervention Center, and that's at Bay Area Rehab. So they sent us 54 students last school year. Of those 54 students, 4 did not qualify, and that's wonderful. That means they received early intervention and they no longer needed any support through special education. So 50 of those students did qualify, and we are always out there recruiting at daycares, preschools, pediatricians' offices, and ABA therapy centers. So as you can see, this is only the data on primary disabilities for autism, but I incorporated the last 4 years. We have actually grown by about 5% just in the last 4 years for students with autism. And if you see in 22-23, autism became the #2 disability for Goose Creek. First, #1 is specific learning disability, #2 is autism, and that actually follows the state. So many districts in the state of Texas are seeing the same growth. So in order to meet the needs of our students with autism, we've provided autism training, and we're going out and meeting with all of our elementary schools. 4 additional silk classrooms were added to meet the needs, and we added focus at Baytown Junior. So now each feeder pattern has a focus program for our students. And then early childhood and special education, we did go out for the Early Childhood Empowering ECSE grant. We awarded cycle 1. We are in the process, we just applied for cycle 2, so hopefully we'll hear that we were awarded that too. But we had STAR program coaches in district, hands-on modeling during ESY where we could train teachers. Paras actually came and received that training as well. And then we went out and helped teachers set up their classrooms. What's best practices for our students so that they had a successful first 9 weeks. And then social skills curriculum support as well. Okay. So as far as recruitment and retention in special ed, because we're always recruiting in special ed, for our assessment staff, we allow all of our assessment staff to go to the Align conference at Region 4. We have brought in Dr. Ed Schultz to come in and train all of our staff on identifying for a specific learning disability, because that has changed as we've moved to a pattern of strengths and weaknesses. We do monthly job-alike meetings where we really talk about, if you're an LSSP, how can we support you? How do you design a behavior intervention plan? And then monthly assessment meetings for new assessment staff, and we have internships for all areas from speech language pathologists, school psychologists, and DIACs. As far as teachers, we go out to Region 4 and job fairs at colleges. GiantCon, we provide training to meet the diverse needs of students within the district. There are online resources through TEA Learn, and then we provide STAR autism training, and then monthly new teacher trainings by content. If you're a low incidence teacher and you need support, we provide that training as well, mentoring and coaching. So in the news, one of our Giants of the Month for September is from Lee High School. Ian Owens is one of our teachers, and he helps support our students in special education. We will present it at the GCISD Wellness Fair, and we will be recruiting there for Child Find. This past weekend, we had an auditory roundup where we offered free audiological assessments to our students if they needed that. And then I want to highlight Albert Bear. He is our Crockett music teacher. He has actually learned Braille to help include a student in choir. So he's gone above and beyond. And then Special Olympics, I'm not going to call out all of our sports, but you can see there that's just what we're doing in the fall. And then special ed testing, we test 1 Saturday per month. We're continuing to do that to keep up with, the timelines, because we want to get kids in as soon as we can. And then TASB actually came out and interviewed some of our folks and created a video highlighting Goose Creek CISD when they came out. Okay, any questions for us?
Yeah, I didn't see track on it. Oh, seriously, they used to run track? I mean, oh.
Yeah.
So they don't run track in the fall?
No, that's a spring sport.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought, but they cross country.
I have a quick question. So for determination levels for special education, a 2 also does not flag audit or whatever?
So we will actually receive our TA audit next school year, the 6-year cyclical monitoring.
But that's just a
Comes
normal.
next school year.
Okay.
A 2 does not trigger
Okay.
an audit. No, we have to come up with our corrective action plan,
Mhm.
but it stays in district this year.
Okay.
Local, which is nice.
Okay.
I have a
In
question.
the past, special ed has had to meet with TA quarterly. We don't have to do that this year.
Oh, good.
How do y'all determine when it comes down to special education? Is it a method of looking at a kid's grade? Is his or her mannerism? I know you test and do all of this, but how do you determine once you've seen a kid in the classroom, you say, well, you need to be tested for special education? How do y'all determine who this person is or
Well,
who
it
would
depends.
be?
It starts with what disability is suspected, and then we assign that evaluator that has the background in identifying that disability to that evaluation, and then there's certain protocols we have to follow.
So if I say she's disabled, then you'll start testing that person, or there's something behind the door that you're saying that?
Well,
so if a student isn't performing up to grade level, then the campus will provide intervention for the student. And we take data and progress monitoring data on the student to see if they're progressing in that intervention. If they're not progressing in the intervention, then the campus will submit a special education referral for that student. But it really depends on what the campus is suspecting the disability is. If it's like a specific learning disability, then they are going to collect the learning data from the classroom, what's going on with the intervention, how is the student progressing. They're going to look at assessments, they'll look at grades, and all of that data together, and then they'll determine if they really suspect, if the student's not making progress in the tier 1 classroom, also in intervention, then they would suspect that the student does have a learning disability, and then they would submit it to the district for review.
Yeah, so you got a kid that's great in social studies, this class, but he's terrible in math and science or whatever. And do you determine that person then is just because they can't do a certain part of the curriculum is someone who has to be in special education, or because they slow in this class and that?
I think it depends on how the student is performing in comparison to their peers. And sometimes students can have a specific learning disability in math and not in reading or writing. So it just depends on, how they're performing across in comparison to their peers. And then we also look at some formal assessment and see how they're doing on that as well.
What do you mean for his personality, things of that nature, or what?
So our diagnosticians and our licensed school psychologists, those are the people that are credentialed to be able to make those determinations, Mr. Sampson. So they look at all of that. So we don't do that.
Well, I'm not saying you do it, but the people that you have making these decisions.
Yes, so they give the kids tests like protocols, certain things to check, like working memory and just different things, and then they make those determinations based off of that data. So it's all data driven.
So basically, it's kind of like they have data and they looking at this data from different kids, and you got a room full of kids, and then you have one kid that's kind of slow, that's not keeping up with everyone. So you put them in that category as special ed, that this person has or probably has to be in a special ed situation.
Actually, the first thing we do is really follow that tiered system. So that would be that general classroom would be the tier 1 instruction. And so what the first thing you're going to do is provide some interventions at tier 2. And then you're going to follow that data. And if those interventions don't work, pull out situations, small group lessons, then we run up to tier 3. And so we really provide intensive supports for those students. It could be extra tutors, before and after school, different programs that we use. There's even AI tutors out there now. And so we do all of that, and the data is collected at the campus, and then they actually have to take that data and meet with a district team and go through all of that to determine if the child needs testing. And if that determination is made, yes, we feel like this child should go through and get some testing, then we get the evaluations to come through.
So basically you saying if I got a classroom full of kids that are performing on this level and you got 2 or 3 kids that are not performing on this level, then we throw them away and say, you go to special ed because you're not performing the way.
No. I want to step in just a minute. Mr. Sampson, my belief is...
Hold on one second. I'm just making a point. But I've seen kids have done that situation where I have seen them say, I can't read, and they 22 years old. And they said that they put me in special education, but they didn't teach me how to read. So I'm saying something has to be wrong with the system. Somebody missed this kid and put them in special education, but they just needed someone to help. But I'm not saying your system is broken. I'm just saying something is missing, because it's a lot of kids get put in special education that probably don't need to be put in special education.
Well, our goal is to not we want to keep as many kids as we can in the general population of students. That was one of the bragging points that we did talk about. The students that are in special ed, 71% of those are in general ed classrooms. So that method is gone away for us. We try to do everything that we can to provide intervention to keep them out of special ed. That is our goal, is exactly what you're saying.
These are new standards that y'all are talking about that are starting from the 3rd grade early intervention on the way through. That's
starting from pre-K.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know how. What he's talking about. But what stood out for me was the one where they come out of the program and they develop faster than the regular students. That little right there just highlighted for me.
And I do want to brag on our pre-K early childhood program. We're seeing kids that were placed in special ed as like 3-year-olds. They're now being dismissed before they go into kindergarten.
Right.
That's great.
So, that's in direct contrast with what he's saying, that we're losing people, that we're throwing them away. That's the wrong term. I don't think he really means that. He's just saying, maybe they're getting overlooked or slipping through the system.
And you can read my mind. I'm saying that I've seen many kids that have been put in special education have come out, like you said, and become working but I've seen them put in that situation when they shouldn't have never been in that situation. But beyond I'll go on.
Right. I've never met anybody really. I've heard a few NFL football players that come out and they can't read, or they're, because they would pass them because of sports and all that kind of stuff. But I really think we do got a good program here by hearing what y'all are saying. Thank God for people like Ian. I hope I'm saying his name right. Ian Owens, and my brother from another mother, Jeff Minson back there. Yeah. He comes over here just for special ed, and I think, I'm not sure, but I think what I'm hearing is pretty good. What we're doing with these kids at an early age, and But I would ask y'all this question. As far as facilities and stuff like that for special ed, and I know that was one of Mr. Minson's big deal because they said with the bond, you know, that we had a while back that we're going to build some facilities for the special ed. You know, in y'all's opinion, I mean, anyway, it's just a general question. Do we have the right facilities in, you know, for these kids? Do we need more facilities for these kids to help them, you know, progress? Just questions. I don't have very much experience other than what y'all are telling me with special ed and hearing Mr. Minson all the time.
I would say as the special ed numbers grow up, we're always going to be in need of looking at sensory rooms and different, you know, areas for those students, because as autism goes up, those sensory rooms need to kind of go up. So we have done a really good, that team has done an amazing job of saying, okay, we're going to do away with a behavior classroom. We're going to put our resources over here and create another focused classroom. And so, yes, I think as we move forward, if the numbers keep going like they are, we'll have to look at things like that.
Let me put that back on. I shut it off because I said something earlier was hot. But, you know, here's my deal. I think, you know, like we have all these schools that are being underused. We could repurpose that school for special ed, one where they have a better facility, gym, you know, they use all this stuff. And I think if we focus there, just like we did with these guys when we repurposed Lamar Elementary, you know, honestly, I have a special place in my heart for special education. And I think that maybe we need to focus more on providing more for everyone in that area because, I mean, I'm not saying they get overlooked like Mr. Sampson because I didn't go into his brain, but I'm just saying that maybe we could do a lot more for special ed, you know. And I think the state has raised the standards as part of why we're actually getting more increases in kids in special ed. So there, I mean, that's just my personal, I just wanted, and thank y'all for what y'all do because it's, like I said, thank God for Ian Owens and Jeff Benson because, you know, it takes special people to work with these kids that need help.
Thank you.
All right. Since
I'm
Dr.
off tomorrow, so I'm gonna talk all night. That's what she said. She said, "You must be off tomorrow." I said, "Yeah."
Dr. Jackson did not tell me I had to be nice. I have a few questions. This is simply yes or no. Is Bluebonnet Learning available in Vietnamese, Arabic, Cambodian, Turkish, Ukrainian, Urdu, and more?
No, we are using a pilot
yes
Spanish.
Or no?
No.
So the teachers that have those children are dependent upon what to communicate to those kids?
I would love to turn that over to Amy because she is working on a specific curriculum that we are working on with our NAC, and she's done a fabulous job.
Cool.
So I'm going to let her take the kudos for that.
Can you ask the question one more time?
Sure. It was about, was Bluebonnet Learning available in all of these languages we serve? And the answer is no. So I understand you're working on something special for those students who need a different curriculum in their language?
What I help develop is the NAC, the New Arrivals curriculum. And what we do is we teach language. It doesn't matter what language you come to us with. We will teach you English with that curriculum. You don't have to speak the child's language to teach them English. What I do is I go in and I train teachers how to teach these children when they don't speak their language. It involves a lot of scaffolding and involves a lot of differentiation. You're welcome to come watch me model a lesson one day.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I'd love for you to.
Hey, for us,
sure,
what is scaffolding?
Scaffolding is support that you give a student within the curriculum, and it is meant to be taken away just like if you're building a house. When that foundation is solid, then you take the scaffolds away. When that child has a foundation of language, those scaffolds can fall away.
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
The extra support.
Support, it's extra support, but it's not meant to stay there forever.
Right.
But
And it's not meant to water it down either.
At all.
What about just, like, I have to go to the bathroom. Do we have signals for that? How do we communicate that if they really have no language, no English when they come to us?
The very first thing we do is teach them survival language. We
Okay.
focus on that week one. That is
The same way I know what baño is.
100%.
And that's about it.
Okay?
Okay.
And we have visual supports, that's part of our scaffolding. I mean, we connect language to everything.
Perfect.
And even if you go into a lot of
yeah.
our NAC classrooms, we have
Mhm.
students, like you said, that speak Vietnamese, Arabic. You'll actually see a lot of these languages present in the classroom.
Okay,
And the
good.
students are utilizing what they know in their first language to bridge into the second language. And that's the most important part of the work that we do as well. So, I mean, it's great to see the work that they're
And
doing.
one reason I'm asking this is I was amazed when I saw this slide. I went, I did not know that we had that many different languages. All right, let me move on to these RDA. Are they evaluations, reports? What would we consider them to be? A couple of you mentioned them.
So it's the results-driven accountability. So it's part of accountability.
Is that from TEA?
Yes.
And it's a rating.
Mhm.
So I think you mentioned that you had like 24 indicators. What about the one?
For us, we have
Mhm.
10.
Okay, where could my fellow board members and I find those reports?
They're actually located on the TEA website. We would be more than happy to send that to you and
Yeah.
provide
Well,
steps
I
on
mean,
how you can get them.
I equate that with like the first rating that we get from financials. That ought to be something that we have at our fingertips to
Clem,
know
it
how
just
things are
came out,
going.
like a week or two ago. Yeah.
So that goes with my next question is can we get possibly the last couple of years plus this year's when it comes out?
Yes.
And just to
It was
reference.
come out, James is working on putting that together, so we can do
Okay.
a couple of longitudinal and get it to you.
Yeah, because that's something I think we should be monitoring as a board. Okay, I believe that's 43 languages, RDA. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Or that's it from me.
Any other questions?
Yes, any other questions? I was about to push it off.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all. Thank you.
I had another question, but I'm not going to ask. Because it may upset some of y'all, so I'm not going to ask.
Uh-oh. I took extra medicine today.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll move on to 8B, President's Report. What we have for you tonight is the Board Operating Procedures Committee Report. Mrs. Guy?
Okay, I'm going to be super fast. So our board operating procedures are way out of date, and so we have, as a board, decided that we want to update those. So we wanted to give everyone an update on where we are in that process. We have a subcommittee. It's myself, Mr. Clem, and Mrs. Barat Timms, and we have met with I guess kind of a coach from TASB. He also came and did our Team of 8 training after he did a session with the three of us and Noemi. And so we've kind of started getting the process down. We've met once, I think. We've had another meeting with him, a Zoom meeting. And so we're just kind of in the process still of editing, and some of it is due to recent legislation. Some of it is just due to it's just outdated. So that's kind of where we are.
Thank you, Mrs. Guy. Any questions on Board Operating Procedures Committee?
Well, and I would just add, if I may, that we've discovered it's going to be like herding turtles backwards. It's going to be a lengthy process because they're that old.
Yes, we didn't expect that.
It's very needed, it's very old, and I appreciate the detail and the time y'all put into it. That concludes discussion items. We'll move on to item 9A, consideration of consent agenda. Dr. O'Brien?
Yes, administration brings before the board for consideration this evening the consent agenda, action item 9A1, 2526 Campus Improvement Plan, CIPs. 2, signing bonus. 3, agreement amendment with MD Anderson. 4, donation from Goose Creek CISD Education Foundation, designated grant by CenterPoint Energy Foundation. Number 5, donation from Goose Creek CISD Education Foundation, designated from ExxonMobil. Number 6, proposed low attendance waiver for Robert E. Lee High School on October 6th, 2025. Number 7, architectural design services contract for the Baytown Junior School Hurricane Barrel Repair Project. Number 8, CSP for HVAC equipment, supplies, and related services. Number 9, RFP for cafeteria serving lines at Gentry Junior School. Number 10, RFP for first option to extend electrical services and related products. Number 11, delegation of authority to the superintendent or designee to negotiate and execute contract renewals or new contracts for electricity and gas supply. Number 12, TASB Localized Policy Manual Update 124 and 125. Number 13, sale of a parcel of land, 0.0744 acre, tract of land abutting property owner, GCCISD at Bonnie P. Hopper Primary School. Number 14, sale of 0.0385 acre tract of land to abutting property owner, GCCISD at George H. Gentry Junior School. Number 15, tax refunds. That is the consent agenda items that administration will recommend to the Board of Trustees this evening for approval.
Thank you, Dr. O'Brien. Are there any items that any board member would like to pull for discussion or separate consideration at this time?
Pull number 1.
Number 1 is pulled.
I like to pull 9A. I guess that's it. 9.
Number 9, RFP for cafeteria. I have item 1 and item 9 being considered separately. Are there any others? All right, with that being said, I will entertain a motion to approve consideration consent agenda items 2 through 8 and 10 through 15.
So moved.
Second.
So I have a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Mr. Martinez. I don't know why I had to look at you, Mr. Martinez, to approve items 2 through 8 and 10 through 15 on consent agenda. Is there any discussion on these items? Hearing none, all in favor? Seeing 7-4, the motion carries. We'll return back to item number 1. Dr. O'Brien, please reread it.
Number 1 is 25-26 campus improvement plans, the CIPs, that each campus principal was required to submit regarding their academic plan for the coming school year. Do you have a specific question on that? We can bring up either principals or our Director of Assessment Accountability to address those plans. Mr. Husband?
Motion first. Or just do the discussion.
Let's stick to Robert's rules and let's start with a motion. Bring it onto the table for discussion after that.
I'll move to approve. Right.
Second.
Yeah.
I have a motion by Mrs. Guy and a second by Mr. Sampson to approve consent agenda item number 1. Now I'll open the floor for discussion. Mr. Clem, the
Thank you.
yours.
Mr. Husband, I believe you're
Yes,
the
sir.
person I need tonight because I'm mostly interested in turnaround, targeted improvement, et cetera, plans.
Yes, sir.
And that are attached to the CIPs.
Yes, sir.
Can you quickly explain the difference between a turnaround and a targeted intervention plan?
Yes, sir. So,
And what,
yes, sir.
what requires them?
And a
Yes, sir.
focus.
In the focus. So there are 3 types of plans. There's the local improvement plan. So whenever accountability comes out, we get our A to F rating, and then the federal government and the state come in and they look at different schools for different interventions based off of their performance. We have 4 campuses that need a local improvement plan because there's a special sub-pop that they didn't perform like they should have on it, and so there's interventions involved with that. So they set goals with using the state targets. We monitor those monthly during the principal PLCs. We're doing that a little bit differently this year. They're bringing their CIPs with them to the principal PLC. We're bringing the data in, but they have done already this year, and they're comparing to see if they are on track to hit that goal or not. So that's the local improvement plan. Now, the targeted improvement plans, there are a couple of reasons why a campus may need that. One of the campuses needs it because they are what's called a comprehensive campus because in their domain 3, they were in the bottom 5%. And so they had to set targets for that. We have to monitor that. We are working with Region 4 with them. They are doing some different things with them too. It takes 2 years to get out of that plan for the TIP. To get out of it, they have to not be in the bottom 5% for for the next 2 years, and they have to improve their domain 3 score.
Group that
That's one of the tips.
Is that
there's
in
certain
that
reasons they have to have
comparison group?
tips.
Is
What's
that in their comparison group or in the state?
That's in their bottom 5% out of all Title I schools.
Okay.
And so we have had campuses in that before. We had 3 campuses, but that were just removed from that. And so this campus was just recently identified for that. It takes them 2 years to get out. The other ones, honestly, there are 3 campuses but that the state requires a TIP, and the only reason they have to have a TIP is because they're part of a grant. All right, it's not that they weren't identified for local improvement or anything like that. They're part of a grant, so they have to provide a TIP to TEA. We do have a couple of campuses though that are required a TIP because they have received their first year unacceptable rating. And so what that means is we developed the plan to get it removed. They have to be a C or higher this year. The campuses that need that, two of those 3 campuses are at 69 right now. They need 1 more point to get that removed. And then the other campus was at a 67. They need 3 more points. Yeah. Right now with them, we are partnering with Region 4, with them and the district leadership advisors. You have to have a strategy, and our strategy is our Tier 1 instruction. We know that across the board for the entire district, we are using the Bluebonnet curriculum. We're partnering with Region 4. They have product advisors that come in and assist during the planning, during the PLCs. We have some collaboration walks. We're using the Bluebonnet checklist to where we get feedback and we're monitoring those Tier 1 all year long. So those are the tips.
Okay. Thank you for that encompassing answer, because you've answered 10 of my 5 questions. So you mentioned that we're monitoring data monthly.
Yes, sir.
According to the can I say taps and tips?
Yes, sir.
That I've read, we should already have some of that data available and being gone over.
And we did
thoroughly.
at the last principal PLC.
At what point can the board see that data?
You can see that anytime you request
and what's
it.
the proper question to ask to see it?
But anytime you want to see it, you can see it. We're actually at next Tuesday's principal board meeting, principal PLC, we're going to do the same activity. We're doing the same activity every single month. They're bringing their CIPs. We're looking at the data to this far. They're going to look to see if they're on track to hit their goal and what their projected domain 1 score is already this far in the year.
And I'm glad to hear you say that. I just think it's very important that the board start monitoring our lower performing campuses from previous years, because we do have skin in the game like everyone else. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, I would like to reconsider a vote that I had on this to look at 2 things that we have underneath this agenda now. Can I do that as a motion that brings back a question?
On the items already voted and approved?
This one or one that passed?
Where are we at right now?
Are you referring to one that we just approved through consent agenda?
Yes.
Well, we got to close this out before we can do that.
Yep.
I just didn't know how to, just wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions?
No, I was just glad that he spoke about the campus improvement for the elementaries is what I was talking about.
Yes, sir.
And I heard what you said, and I appreciate that, because that's an area that we really do need to focus on and get those schools back up.
Yes, sir.
All right, any more discussion on item number 1, which is on the table right now? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor, show of hands. The vote is unanimous. Item number 1 passes. Ms. Barat-Timms, I'm going to go on to number 9 and then come back to your question.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. O'Brien, before us is item number 9. Please reread it.
Yes, RFP for cafeteria serving lines at Gentry Junior School. Be glad to pull up Ms. Price if you need a detailed question about our budget process.
Yeah,
Mr. Sampson?
I got a question about it.
Let's start with a motion to bring it before the board for
So
discussion.
moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Renteria
Second?
and a second by Mr. Clem to approve item number 9 on consent agenda. At this time, I'll open it up for discussion. Mr. Sampson, the floor is yours.
I got, I guess, 2 questions. Number 1, are they talking about the serving line which connects to the food service?
Yes, sir.
The
It's a food service
silver
line. Yes, sir.
thing? My second question, I know we have we're trying to go out for a bid on replacing those. That's what we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we may not be able to do it, but we have a program where we have a CTE program where we got guys that do welding and everything. Why couldn't we get the material and replace it ourselves? That's,
So these are actual units. Sorry. These are actual units that we buy from a manufacturer to come and install them.
so is that the where you slide your tray on, or is it the whole?
Yes, sir, it's the whole unit. Some of them are connected to plumbing, some of them are connected to electrical, Dr. Price.
Is it the whole serving table?
It's the whole apparatus, yes.
Yeah. So it's not just the rail part.
Right. It's all inclusive,
Oh,
yes.
okay. So all of them are bad right now, or?
Well, they just have to be replaced. They get worn out. You know, they pass their useful life. They start falling apart. So
Okay.
they have to be, yeah, they have to be replaced.
That's what I was curious about. That's the question I had. I thought it was
Okay.
just the rail part.
He was,
No.
can you fix those in-house is what he was saying. Kind of, we got to, yeah, I got you.
No.
Yeah.
No. That's it.
Yeah, good.
They are approved by the Food and Drug Administration as one of the partners that, so it's a required specification.
Set up, yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Any further questions?
Nope, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I have a motion and a second to approve item number 9 on the consent agenda. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Seeing 7-4, the motion passes unanimously. Ms. Barat-Timms, I'll bring the floor back to you for
Mr.
recognition.
President, I move that we reconsider the vote on, so I would like further
Discussion?
discussion on item 9A13 and item 9A14.
9A.
How about the lane? Okay.
So I have a motion to reconsider previously approved items 13 and 14 from consent agenda before we can move forward. I'll need to hear a second on that.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to reconsider 13 and 14 by Ms. Barat-Timms and a second by Mr. Renteria.
For the sake of discussion.
For the sake of discussion, thank you. Okay, I would like to know.
Well, we have to take a vote on it now,
Okay, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
We got to
Yeah, you
level
can't
up.
discuss it, Joey.
right?
Yeah.
And so all in favor of reconsidering items 13 and 14, please show of hands.
Can we reconsider just 2 items, or do we have to reconsider the whole consent?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Benoit.
Specific to,
I thought so.
yeah. It's good to check, confirm.
Yep,
It's all good.
yep, thank you, Taz. Cheat sheet. So let's take a vote again to reconsider items 13 and 14 only that were just approved on consent agenda. All in favor, show of hands. The majority has it. Ms. Barat-Timms, we will start with item number 13.
Yes,
Do we want to take these separately or together?
we can do them individually.
Let's start with a motion, bring it before the table.
I'll move to approve item 9A13. we doing them together or separately?
It's your choice. They're very similar.
Oh, okay. I'll move to approve items 9A, 13, and 14.
Second.
Who was my second? I have a motion by Mrs. Guy and a second by Ms. Renteria to approve items 13 and 14. Now we'll open it up for discussion.
Okay.
Ms. Brought-Timms, would you please begin?
Okay, I'm sorry that kind of passed me up on that one when we went through that. That I didn't ask to put, but I kind of want information because we had a speaker tonight that kind of spoke about at 9A13. I just wanted more clarification because this has been adjacent to the school, but it was a community project. The reason why I know this because at the time I was working at Harris County and was aware that the need that the community, not just the school, but the community wanted this area.
Let me start by,
Hold on, yeah.
To clarify,
That's
just
not
start by
this piece of
clarifying.
property.
we have
You're
another
talking about
change.
Highlands, and this is not it.
This one is by Hopper.
So
This the one by
So-
Hopper that he
Yeah,
spoke
but it's
on
Let
not
me
the
make
school.
one clarifying
It's not
statement.
the same school.
This is not land that we've sought to sell. Let me just share this, and then Mr. Benoit, I'll turn it over to you. These two parcels came about as a result of the 2019 bond, part of the security package, where we were putting perimeter fences around all of our properties. And we discovered there were some infringements on some of the sites, the line of sights on our property. And with that, talk a little bit about the Hopper piece and then Gentry as well.
So
but before you do
Okay,
that,
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Benoit, this is totally separate from the other sale of property.
Right.
Yes, so we'll stop.
The one that Mr. Koontz talked about, that's what
It's
you're
not
talking.
on here.
No,
Right.
it
thought
is
it
on
was
the
the one
agenda,
that
not
was-
on the consent agenda,
Okay,
to clarify.
okay.
So
I thought that was it
We-
here. That was
No, ma'am.
9A13.
No, so the property that's at Hopper, so the property that was spoken about was on the west side of Highlands Elementary. This is actually on the east side of Hopper. As Dr. O'Brien mentioned, in doing some of the surveying to figure out where those fences need to be placed, they discovered at Hopper that the adjoining property owner had an asphalt drive poured along the property line, and whoever did that work misaligned their property line. And so it encroaches by, it's a real sliver of land. The total square footage on that is 3,242 square feet, so very small sliver. Part of the discussion that was had was the cost to remove that asphalt drive to be able to put the fencing versus approaching the property owner and offering it for sale to allow us to fence our property line without having to disturb some of the neighbors' improvements. And so that's the issue at Hopper. The issue at Gentry is very similar. It's on the east side of the Gentry property. It's a neighbor who built a fence over, and we've reached out to them as well. And both of these sales are very small strips of land to the adjoining property owners on both of those. The later agenda item will be for a 1.76 acres. We're talking about a much more considerable piece of land, but that's not on the consent agenda.
Thank you. It clarified it for me. I just wasn't sure if that was the property that the gentleman had spoke about earlier.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Benoit.
You're welcome.
I'm clear now.
Okay, it was confusing.
It was.
Are there any further questions? Are there any further questions for items 13 and 14, which are on the table being reconsidered at this time? Are we ready to vote? All in favor, please signify by showing hands. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Benoit.
We will now move on to agenda item 9B, future board agenda items, board trainings, board meetings. Future board agenda items coming up, first report, public hearing. I actually read that report myself. It's very encouraging. Education Foundation annual report. Any board trainings coming up? Nope. And then the next scheduled board meeting will be December 15th. Any questions or comments on any of that?
I do have a question. I would like to know if we could get an update on our low performing schools, kind of like what Mr. Clem was asking about. if it was a school that scored a D or an F this past accountability cycle, and can we get an update on any assessments they've given this year, like a common assessment, like a benchmark or something like that, to where we can kind of see where they are headed.
Yes, ma'am. We'll get that to you.
I will be the second one on that one.
Yeah, I like that one. I mean, I don't know if I was thinking, can we get some updates or some on the capital improvement budget and vice versa?
Yes,
And all that?
Ms. Clark, you'll include capital improvement on the finance report? Okay.
And any budgets that are outstanding that we didn't know about? I'll give you for an example. The one that Randy said he had $10,000 budget, that kind of stuff. I want to know where our money's at. I mean, nothing personal with Randy, but I mean, remember you had that budget that one day when we were right here and he said, Randy he's always had that budget, that little line item. But any money that we got outstanding, I want to know about it.
Anything else for future board meetings? All right. We'll move on to item 9C, closed meeting. This board will now recess into closed session pursuant to one or more of the following sections of the Texas Government Code, sections 551.071, 072, 073, 074, 075, 076, 082, 083, 084, 087, and 089. No action will be taken while the board is in closed session. The time is now 9:32 p.m.
I did not even talk to you about this girl.
All right, the board will now reconvene in an open session. The time is now 11:14 p.m. No action was taken while the board was in closed session. We will move on to the agenda item number 9E. Dr. O'Brien?
What is that one? 9E.
Yes, administration brings to the board this evening consideration of personnel. E1, approve elections, and E2, accept resignations and retirements as presented.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Guy and a second by Mrs. Barat Timms to approve item, I lost my spot.
9E.
9E.
1 and 2.
1 and 2.
And 2.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by raising your hand. It's unanimous, motion passes.
Administration brings before the board this evening the recommendation to hire a principal at Travis Elementary, Mr. Scott Platt.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Barat Timms and a second by Mrs. Guy to approve item E3. Any discussion?
Yes. His name is Scott Plant?
Platt.
Platt? P-L-A-T-T?
P-L-A-T-T.
Okay. And we're hiring him because he's a replacement for somebody?
Yes, we had a principal that resigned in the middle of the year due to relocation.
Okay. Nice.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries unanimously.
And the next administrative position is a math instructional specialist, Mr. Joe Richard.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Barat Timms and a second by Mr. Renteria to approve the math specialist. Any discussion on this item?
Yes. He's a returning teacher from the Goose, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we want him back.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your hand. The motion carries unanimously.
Administration brings before the board for consideration the contracts of outside employment for some administrators and employees based upon House Bill 3372 requirements of the 89th Texas Regular Legislative Session.
I'll move to approve. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, that was insane.
That was insane.
That was creepy.
I move to approve the outside employment contracts for administrators as presented in closed session.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Mrs. Guy to approve item 10 on the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Seeing 7-4, motion carries unanimously.
Helen didn't let me ask.
Administration brings before the board for consideration authorization to solicit sealed bids for the purchase of surplus property.
I move, I don't do this often, but the president has the privilege. I move that we do not sell this property and we return it to its original state with original fencing and give the property back to the students.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Campese and a second by Mr. Renteria.
Yes.
On item number 11, to not sell the property. Is there any discussion on this item?
Yes.
You have the floor.
This is the Highlands Elementary property,
Correct.
and I'm in favor of not selling this to McDonald's or anybody else because it's in usage. And I don't think that if we have it in usage, we should sell it. And that's my take. I think we should take the fences down that are over there that were put up there that shouldn't be there and allow them, because I can see them on that big field. If that fence wasn't there, playing kickball and volleyball and everything else out there, other than playing on the track or walking the track. So that's my opinion on that, and I'll be voting to not sell this property.
Mr. Sampson?
I agree that it should go back to its natural state, but I still, for security measures, I would fence off the property, but not where the fence is now.
Yes, that's where I left off, that I should have, where it should have been fenced is all of our property, not cut it off in anticipation of a sale. That's my deal. But in keeping with what he just said, it should have been all the way around the outside of our property.
I'm looking for my attorney in the room. Can I amend my motion to just not sell the property and leave it at that? I will amend my motion to not send the motion, or not to sell the property. My second, will you second that amendment?
Second.
So this motion is now just to not sell the property. We'll leave everything else up to discussion at a later date.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion on this item?
I have some discussion. I can agree that we need to keep the whole track, but I believe that we do need to sell that front piece. So I don't have to vote to sell it tonight, but I do think that it needs to be considered at a later date. The piece of land that we are maintaining, that's not really used.
Okay, why do you feel like we need, can I ask that? Why do we need to feel like we need to sell it?
Because it's not used and it's being maintained by the district. Kind of like that surplus.
Okay, it is
All of that those pieces of property you talked about earlier that we needed to sell because we have them in our
That's misinformation
pocket.
that you're giving. They put the fence up prior to getting permission from us, and because they did that, the kids are not able to go out and use that property. And if they hadn't have done that, the kids would still be using that property.
I don't know.
Well, I do, because it's being used before. They put that fence up, and it was unauthorized to do so.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's always usable.
Any further discussion?
Yes, the
That's
properties
fine.
that she said that I'm talking about selling are properties that we're not using, like the Bicentennial Park, the old San Jacinto Elementary. Those properties are not being used, and we're keeping them on the roads, and we should sell those because they're not being used. This is totally different. Highlands has used that piece of land and property forever, and they stopped using it because of that fence that was unauthorized and put up by administration.
Any further
We
discussion?
can just agree to disagree.
I can do that.
If no further discussion, Mr. President, I would just ask you to restate what you're voting on.
We are voting on item number 11, which is to not solicit sealed bids for the purchase of this property. In essence, we are not selling this property at this time.
And does that include no bids going out for this property? Yes, okay.
At this time.
Any further discussion? All in favor of not selling the property, please signify by raising your hand. I gotta count. 1,
4. There's 4 to 3.
Oh, not selling the property. Okay, let me get straight.
I said I'll vote for not selling it right now as
Okay.
it's drawn in the map.
I'm seeing 5-4. Any against? One against. Any abstentions? Ms. Garcia, I see 5 for, 1 against, and 1 abstention. The motion to not sell the property passes.
The next item from administration is to consider and take possible action to declare contract abandonment of probationary contract of an elementary teacher and propose termination of teacher's probationary contract.
I will move to declare the contract abandonment of probationary contract of Evan Core and propose termination of the teacher's probationary contract.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Guy and a second by Mr. Renteria for item number 12 on the agenda. Is there any discussion on this item?
Yes. Anybody, and this is just in general, doesn't have to be at the Goose. If you abandon your job, you're terminated, period, anywhere. Chevron, where I work, Exxon, anybody. If you abandon your job, you're done, period. You're fired. See you later. Goodbye.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Seeing 7-4, the motion carries unanimously. Dr. O'Brien, item 13.
The final action the administration brings before the board to consider and take possible action regarding Goose Creek CISD versus Jennifer Courtemanche.
I make a motion that we enter into a settlement as discussed in closed session regarding Goose Creek CISD versus Jennifer Courtemanche, docket number 019LH102025 before the Texas Education Agency Independent Hearing Examiner, whose name I shall not try to pronounce.
Tulalapi.
I have a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Mrs. Barat Timms for item number 13. Is there any discussion on this item?
Yes. I will be voting against this. I will stand by my vote to initially fire her because she is an incompetent teacher and she shouldn't have, she crossed the line and speaking publicly on social media and every other venue to say bad things about Charlie Kirk. I think she should be fired, and karma's a bitch. How about that? I'll end it at that.
Is there any other discussion? I will add that I agree with a lot of what Mr. Renteria just said as far as there's no room for hate in our district whatsoever, and how different people interpret that may be different. I agree that what this teacher did was not acceptable. It's against everything I stand for, and I think it's against what this school district stands for. My vote is not a reflection of entering into a settlement agreement for the benefit of anyone other than being fiscally responsible to Goose Creek and funds that would be diverted elsewhere. So let me be clear. What this teacher did at Goose Creek is not acceptable. I think the majority of us agree on that. How we handle it moving forward is where the disagreement is. My vote, from me personally, one of 7 people, is based on fiscal responsibility and the best interest of Goose Creek. Is there any further discussion?
Well, one last thing. She shouldn't get a dime of our money, not a penny. She crossed the line and she shouldn't get no money. And what we're doing, we're being a weak board by voting to pay this woman off big money to not even work for it. And she did wrong and she should be punished, not rewarded. That's my last take on it.
No, I don't have any discussion. Just close this meeting.
All right, with no further discussion, all in favor of moving forward with a settlement agreement on item number 13, please signify by raising your hand.
Oh, no. Sorry. You almost got me on that one. I'm voting against that.
Let's start over because I
Okay.
want to be fair and
Yeah.
clear. I don't want to have to revisit this again right
Helen
after.
tells me, just vote.
So, all in favor of moving forward with a settlement agreement on item number 13, please signify by raising your hand. Any opposed? Seeing 6, 4, and 1 against, the motion passes.
And notice I didn't abstain.
So, with no further business being before this board, the meeting is adjourned. The time is now 11. With no further business being before this board, the time is now 11:27. We are adjourned.